Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of This Week in the World of Football. This is episode number 369 for November 5th, 2024. I'm your host, Randy Snow. On this week's show, the NFL trade deadline saw quite a bit of movement. We have our second NFL head coach firing of the season, and a female college football kicker in Canada is named a conference all-star. Good for her. But I'm not here all by myself. Across the table from me, as always, is my son, Adam.
Hello, everybody. Happy Election Day. Happy NFL Trade Deadline Day. Happy 5th of November. And from one of my favorite movies, a quote I love every year on this exact day, November the 5th, is remember the 5th of November, gunpowder treason and plot. I see no reason why the gunpowder treason should ever be forgot. V for Vendetta. It's a great movie.
V for Vendetta. I knew I couldn't remember the name, but I knew what movie you were talking about.
Usually,
you love that movie.
I love that movie. Usually on November 5th every year I would try to watch it. It's just been I've been busy the last few years on November the 5th.
With life gets getting in the way.
Like today I had to rake leaves before I could come out here.
That's right. You were late today.
Being a homeowner sucks. Had to rake leaves like a bum.
Aw.
Yeah.
Picking up dog duty in the backyard.
Oh, shoot. I make the dog do that. He rolls in. I don't have to pick it up.
Oh, you just have to give him a bath.
I don't even have to do that. That's what the rain's for.
We had to do that with our dogs the other day. They found something in the backyard. And
is that what that whole text chain was?
one dog got 2 baths in one day.
Oh, goodness.
It was a mess. We come to you each week from the fabulous World of Football Man Cave, located right here in the center of the football world, Kalamazoo, Michigan. We're here to promote the game of football in all its many forms, past, present, and future. Our goal is to educate, inform, and entertain our listeners with the glorious buffet that is the world of football. All this while keeping a close eye on the rich history of the game. Thanks for checking out our podcast. We'd love to get your feedback on one of our many platforms: Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. So you can simply ask your Alexa device to play the World of Football podcast. We also have timestamps down in the description of both the podcast and many of our YouTube videos, so you can go right to the topics you really want to listen to. Just search for, I missed a line there. You can also find our podcast in its full audio form on our YouTube channel. Just search for The World of Football Kalamazoo or use the handle @The World of Football in the YouTube search bar. It's going to be a rough show, I can tell already.
You've been trying to find your footing the last couple. You've gone on vacation for 1 week and you're still not back in the groove yet.
Yep. We have over 450 videos on our YouTube channel, including last week's CFL Week 21 recap. As well as Just Lying Around, episode number 44, where you and Kyle went over the Lions-Packers game. That was a happy event, I'm sure that was.
Yeah.
I just watched it this morning.
Oh, did you?
I watched it this morning,
I was going to say, did you post all the social medias? Because I didn't see it anywhere.
Oh, no, I did not. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, that's why nobody's checked it out.
I got to do that. Well, you posted it so late last night, I'd already gone to bed.
I can't help it that you got to stay up later, first off. Second off, I have life, so like editing and having life sucks.
That's right. I do need to post that. I will take care of that as soon as we're done here.
Yeah, so few responsibilities, everybody.
Yeah.
He naps all day, yet he's still got to go to bed early.
I have not had a nap yet today.
Oh, today?
Looking forward to it soon. And also, our Week 9 picks video for last week is up there. Upcoming videos include the CFL Divisional Semifinal Playoff Round recap, which we're going to record tomorrow, I guess.
Yeah.
A couple
we'll
of
probably
great
have to
games.
focus a lot more on the games upcoming. I think we got to turn it into a preview for the divisional championship games, but we'll obviously recap everything too. So we'll probably do a bit of 50-50.
Yeah.
I mean, usually when we preview, it's not super in-depth, but maybe we can get a little more and talk about what we hope to see.
Right, yeah. And let's see, we're also going to be doing next in the coming week, Just Lying Around, episode number 45.
Yeah,
the Lions and Texans
so
recap.
it's a Sunday night game, so Kyle and I probably won't get to that till Monday.
Yep.
So depending on how that goes.
Yeah, that's going to get screwed up. And then the week after that, we're going to Canada. So, oh my gosh, our recording schedule is going to be all messed up the next couple of weeks.
I think there's going to be some buffer because I actually have a 3-day weekend coming up.
Oh,
so
really?
We'll probably be able to watch CFL this weekend and maybe record on Sunday, get that all taken care of. And all the other ones I'm not worried about. I think we'll be fine.
Okay.
Because, a week from tomorrow, we will be on a plane to Canada. We're going to have our show next week, and it'll pretty much be us getting ready to pack and
the night
fly.
before we leave, we got to get up early the next morning to catch a plane for Minneapolis and then Vancouver after that. Yeah, it's going to be a real whirlwind, I think.
Heck yeah, it should be exciting.
Yep. And our last upcoming video, our weekly NFL picks Week 10 video.
So that'll go up Wednesday. Be on the lookout for that.
Yep. Okay, so let's begin our weekly tour around the world of football, and we're going to start off this week with scores from Week 9 in the NFL.
That's right. Things got started off on Thursday Night Football. It saw the New York Jets get a win against the Houston Texans, 21-13. Obviously, none of us in the picks picked the Jets to win. We thought the Jets wouldn't have a chance, but the Jets got the win, despite trying to not score touchdowns by dropping the ball at the 1-yard line. I don't know why players continue to do this. This is one of the most bizarre things in football, I think, is the guys who, I get it, you're celebrating, you're excited, but then you drop the ball at the 1-yard line or at the 1-foot line. Like, what are you doing?
It's happened before.
I know,
it's not
but
the
why?
first time.
It's so stupid. It's one of the stupidest things in football, and players just need to stop. Like, that is like 101. Get into the end zone first before you celebrate.
Well, the Jets were behind when I went to bed because I didn't finish that game that night. And so I went to bed happy thinking, oh, yeah, they're going to lose this game. And I get up the next morning, and I got depressed seeing that they actually won the game Thursday night.
And then the other thing from this game is that wide receiver, and I'm already blanking on his name. I had him for a hot second. What is his name? Not Devontae Adams. They have the other receiver.
Don't know who he is.
Son
Can't
of a
tell
gun.
you.
See, you were of no help to me when I'm like trying to look up stats. Oh crap! Why am I? I'll give me 2 seconds. I'll pull up the scoring drive because Jets. Not Brees Hall. Garrett Wilson. Oh my God! I'm sorry that took so long.
Never heard of him.
Garrett Wilson. No, he's a good receiver, but he had a touchdown catch. A great one-handed grab. Like one of the best catches you're ever going to see.
Oh, I did see that highlight.
But the fact that they said that a shin counts as 2 feet because he only got a shin down.
Well, yeah, a knee counts as 2 feet.
I think that's so dumb.
I know that.
Then what was it? Last Sunday or the Sunday before, the Steelers had a guy who got his left foot down twice, and they said it wasn't going to get. Makes no sense. Made absolutely no sense. Amazing catch, but I didn't think it should have counted. It should not have counted.
Yeah, so his knee was kind of like half on the line or whatever.
It should not have counted. Great catch, but it should not have counted. Jets got lucky with that one. Anyway, Aaron Rodgers gets a win. He gets to feel good for a week until reality finally bites him in the face the next game they play. I don't even know who they play next. We talk about that on our picks video, so check that one out. All right, then we go to Sunday. A game we caught a little bit of. The Dallas Cowboys fell to the Atlanta Falcons 27-21. Dak Prescott got hurt in this game, out with a hamstring. He sounds like he's going to be out for a few weeks.
Yeah.
I think even CeeDee Lamb might have gotten injured.
Yeah, I think he got hurt. He fell on his shoulder or something.
Yeah, so
I'm
going to put air quotes around both those guys because I think they're just tired of playing for that crappy team because there was video of Dak on the sideline saying, "We effing suck."
They'll still cash their paychecks, though.
Oh, they will. I mean, the
Huge
highest paid
paycheck.
quarterback in the league. And CeeDee Lamb just got his big fat contract, so that's 2/3 of your team's salary right there, essentially.
I heard somebody say it was 36%.
Yeah,
their
okay. That's before you
Their whole
figure what
payroll.
they're probably going to eventually pay Micah Parsons, who would probably make up 1/3 of their whole roster, just those 3 guys. Kind of like when the Lions had Ndamukong Suh and Calvin Johnson and Matthew Stafford all under contract.
Exactly. Yep,
So,
that hurt us, but they were great players, but we had no other team around them because of all the money going to those 3.
Keep doing what you're doing, Jerry. All right, moving on here. The Baltimore Ravens took care of the Denver Broncos 41-10. The Ravens they dismantled that Denver defense. We thought maybe Denver's defense, very much improved, but obviously the Ravens just kind of had their way with them. Derrick Henry got his 100th touchdown run, and he also eclipsed 1,000 yards, and it's only week 9. It was only week 9. He's already got 1,000 yards rushing. The dude's unbelievable. I mean, it helps having a great offensive line like what the Ravens have. They just love to run the football. Yeah. But for the Broncos, their lone highlight seemed to be when Bo Nix caught a touchdown pass from Cortland Sutton. Yeah, it was a heck of a play if you haven't gotten to check that out.
I don't think I've seen that
so
one.
Jared Goff and Bo Nix, 2 quarterbacks that have caught touchdown passes this year. It was a good highlight. If you get a chance to go check that out, that's the lone Broncos highlight of the week. The Buffalo Bills had to kick a 61-yard field goal to get the victory over the Miami Dolphins 30-27. I don't want to hear no Buffalo fans telling me your team's going to the Super Bowl. You play the Dolphins with a last-second field goal, don't talk to me about that. There was a Buffalo guy at work who was like, "We're going to the Super Bowl. We'll see you there, Lions." I'm like, "You guys, you got the Ravens and the Chiefs to get by. Don't even talk to me right now." I know we got Buffalo friends.
Sure,
from the PFRA.
a lot of them.
And I will poke that bear right now. I'm sorry, guys. You're gonna be good. You're not gonna be that good. All right, moving on. The Carolina Panthers got their second win of the season. They beat the Saints 23-22. And after this game, we had a coach firing. Dennis Allen, the head coach of the New Orleans Saints, with the Saints at 2-7, was fired. They started 2-0 this season. Everybody was thinking this was going to be that dark horse team to kind of come out of the gate. And guess what? It was a fugazi because they suck, and it was the Commanders that are now the actual dark horse team that kind of came out of nowhere. So
Saints losing 7 straight.
Yeah, it's
to
tough.
be 2-7.
Special teams coordinator Darren Rizzi has been named the interim head coach. Allen has been the head coach of the Saints since 2022. He's the second head coach fired this season, obviously after Jets head coach Robert Saleh bit the dust a few weeks back. Somebody made an interesting point that, because Dan Campbell, Lions head coach, came from the New Orleans coaching. Yeah, because he was kind of the assistant head coach to Sean Payton before Sean Payton left.
Yeah.
People were wondering if Dan Campbell would have stuck around, would it be Dan Campbell down there being the head coach in New Orleans and not Dennis Allen? It's very interesting. And somebody made the joke that's gone around was that quarterback Derek Carr has now gotten Dennis Allen fired twice because he was also the head coach out in Las Vegas.
Oh, really? I didn't realize that.
Or I don't know if he was a coordinator, but he was a coach out in Vegas. And so he got fired when Derek Carr was the quarterback there, and now he gets fired with Derek Carr as the quarterback in New Orleans.
Well, Dennis Allen, he's only in his third season. He's halfway through his third season as head coach there, and already they've said we've seen enough.
Hey, some coaches down in Carolina, you can't even last the season sometimes. So
yeah, I didn't write down his record. I saw it was like 18-26 or something like that was his overall record. So
I mean,
7-game losing streak is not,
when you start off as hot as you did, and then you just cool off and 7 straight. Yeah, that's not good. That's not a good sign for development. They couldn't get any other wins, and then you lose to probably the worst team in the league.
Yeah.
Which now makes you the worst team in the league. So that's not a good reflection on that coaching staff there.
Yeah, I may have to pick the Panthers to win a few games here now coming up.
Oh, you want more people to get fired?
I don't know. Are they playing Green Bay or Chicago anytime soon?
I think they already played Chicago.
Oh.
I don't know. All right, moving on. The Cincinnati Bengals got a win over the Raiders 41-24. Joe Burrow, I think, threw 5 touchdown passes in this game, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just double check that real quick. Because Joe Burrow, I mean, this is probably the best bad team, like with a bad record, like in the league. Like they just have not been able to string any wins together. Yeah, Joe Burrow threw for 5 touchdowns, an interception, 251 passing yards. So good for him. I like that Joe Burrow kid. He's a good quarterback. Just has a crappy team. And we'll talk about the trades that they made here in a little bit.
Okay.
All right. The Los Angeles Chargers went out to Cleveland and beat the Browns up 27-10, which might have led to why the Browns are selling off pieces of that team. Again, we'll get to that when we talk trades after all the scores. The Washington Commanders took care of the New York Giants 27-22. Did you see the footage of the Commanders fan that was talking smack and then fell down the seats?
Yes, I did.
In the upper deck.
I saw it. A lot of the times I'll see these things and I won't have the sound on my phone, but I'll see them, and so I didn't know what game or what, where that took place. But he's fell down 3 or 4 rows.
Oh yeah, he's talking smack and then he just fell down like 5 or 6 rows of seats.
I think there was alcohol involved in that.
Maybe, but somebody pointed out, had that happened, because this happened at MetLife Stadium, had that happened at FedEx Field, he might have fallen down to the first level.
Could be, yeah.
I wouldn't trust the upper deck there at all, the way that those guardrails fall apart. I digress. All right, the Tennessee Titans broke the Honolulu flu curse that we've been loving all season long. They beat the Patriots in overtime 20-17. I mean, the Patriots tying it up was awesome. Drake May threw a heck of a pass to the end zone to tie that game up, but then the Titans got in overtime. They got the ball, and they went down and kicked the field goal to win it. Kind of bummed us out because we were loving that Honolulu blue flu. The streak is broken.
On our picks video, I changed my pick because you mentioned that, and I thought, oh yeah, I should have
stuck with your gut.
Yeah, if I'd done that, I'd have won the whole thing last week. But
I was gonna ask, were you gonna be perfect if you got that? Right?
It wouldn't have been perfect, but I would have, I think, beaten everybody else for the week with
shoot.
that one. But now there's like 3 of us that are tied
Okay.
for picks this past week.
The Arizona Cardinals absolutely showed why the Bears are a terrible team and deserve to fire their head coach. 29-9. The Cardinals now leading that NFC West.
Yeah, they're like, what, 7-1?
No,
also?
the Cardinals are 5-4, 5-3.
I thought they had a better record than that.
Nope, the record's not super great, but I mean that whole NFC West division right now
Okay.
it's tight. Like everybody's within a game or two of each other. That's a real tight race there in that NFC West. But yeah, the Cardinals getting that win. And from this game, did you see the highlight of DJ Moore just giving up on a play and in the middle of a play, walking to the sideline and going to sit on the? Oh
I
yeah,
didn't think so.
Terrible. I feel like they have lost this locker room. This coaching staff has lost this locker room. Their next game will be a big tell. Caleb Williams couldn't get much going. I mean, he only scored 9 points. Woof. With all those great receivers and your great miracle rookie quarterback. I mean,
Was that all field goals? I don't know if that was all field goals.
I'm not sure if it was or not. I can pull up the stats real
I was just
quick.
curious when I saw it. My first thought was 3 field goals was all they could manage and not even a touchdown.
It might have been all field goals, just kind of perusing. I could be wrong, but I mean, they scored 9 points in the second quarter, and that's all they were able to muster. So,
Okay.
all right, moving on. The Philadelphia Eagles put on some great Kelly Green throwback
Yeah, I
uniforms.
did like those uniforms.
And took on the Jags. They beat them 28-23. They almost blew this game. That head coach Nick Sirianni, I don't like him, but he was just going for 2,
Yeah.
and he was doing all these bizarre play decisions. I'm just like, what are you doing? Just win the game, and it almost cost him.
They're trying to be like Detroit.
Maybe.
Everybody's trying to imitate Detroit, and often imitated, never duplicated.
I don't know, but the Eagles were such a good team before Detroit got good.
Right.
It surprises me, and the fact that they were up like 22-0, and the Jaguars came back. They had some good stuff happening. The Jags, what was it? The guy who went before Aiden Hutchinson in the draft. I forget the linebacker's name. He had a fumble return for a touchdown. It was pretty awesome. But the Eagles, that.
Well, maybe he knows that his job is in jeopardy, and he's trying to pull out all the stops to do
I don't know
anything
if
to
it's
win
that.
games. And
He got off the hot seat a couple games ago. I think he was on the hot seat, but I don't know. When you coach reckless like that, I mean, like, granted, he said, like, look, if you do a bunch of stuff and it works, nobody's going to say anything. It's when you
Right.
do all that stuff and it doesn't work that people start saying stuff. So I don't know if he's going off of analytics, if he's going off of his gut, how he's doing it. I just think he's a loose cannon, and I don't know. That could be the Eagles' downfall this year. I mean, they got a good team there. They could be scary come playoff time. But right now, I do not trust that head coach at all.
Wasn't he John with the fans last week?
That was a couple weeks ago.
Calling
Yeah, that was like
someone
right
out
on the
behind the
fringe
bench.
of like, this guy needs to go.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they've won a few games. I mean, you can overcome him yelling at his own fans if you keep winning.
Hey, as long as they're better than the Cowboys, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. All right, now's the time that we can talk about the Detroit Lions went into Green Bay. You know, that little old dome team that can't play outdoors in the weather. That team went into Green Bay with 40-mile-an-hour winds,
The frozen tundra.
with rain coming down. The Green Bay wearing their awesome throwback-ish uniforms in Lambeau, in a 4:00 game, sun setting, and they dismantled the Packers 24-14. That score is not as indicative of how big the Lions won this
Right,
game. I
right.
mean, Green Bay pulled it within 10 at the end, but this was all Lions from
yeah.
start to finish.
Yeah. They had no Aiden Hutchinson, of course, because of his injury. They had no Brian Branch because he got thrown out of the game.
In the second quarter, he got ejected for
Yep.
penalty. I think Kyle and I talked about it.
Yes,
Penalty,
yes.
yes.
Absolutely.
Should he have been ejected? I don't think so. You don't. That's not a objectional offense.
Yeah. To me, it was.
I didn't like
I don't
the
want to say
justification.
incidental contact, but it wasn't like he was lowering his head and trying to really, hit the guy.
It was more shoulder, but it was
more
shoulder to
shoulder.
the head.
Yeah.
The league said that it could have been avoided. But I'm sorry, that millisecond decisions, nah.
Yeah.
In that type of situation, in this type of game,
Yeah.
where it was literally for the lead of the NFC North, like, you can't do that. With everybody watching, it was America's game of the week, and you're going to do that?
Right. And that's like what Coach Campbell said, because it was nationally televised, the game of the week. It got all the attention, so they're going to make those calls in those types of games rather than a 1:00 game. Did you hear him make that?
I heard him talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, no Brian Branch, no Aiden Hutchinson, no Jamison Williams, who's been our big receiver because he's on a 2-game suspension. He's now off of his suspension. He'll be back next week. But, without those 3 guys, they still managed to handle the Packers, who, right from the start, I said it's going to be us and Green Bay. Forget Minnesota, forget Chicago. That's just how I felt before the season started. It hasn't quite turned out that way,
Right.
but I really thought that it was us and Green Bay. And going up there, I didn't know what to expect last week, and I'm glad it turned out the way it did, of course. But
Right.
I thought Green Bay would still put up a real fight, but boy, they did not.
It didn't help that Jordan Love. Look, I'm not trying to make excuses for Green Bay, but you had a banged up Jordan Love.
Yep.
Even the running back who had a great day. I can't believe I'm blanking on Josh Jacobs. Had a great day running the ball. He had 95 yards rushing.
Started out really good.
Started out really good. He looked great, but he was still even a little dinged up, I think. They had some offensive line shuffling. And like I said, I'm not sitting here trying to make excuses for why the Packers weren't as good as we thought. Look, the Lions went into their house in inclement weather and didn't turn the ball over. They didn't make mistakes. Maybe in the third, fourth quarter, they got a little too conservative, and they had a few 3-and-outs, and it kind of let the Packers almost creep back in. But you never really felt like the Lions were giving it up. What, 3?
It's 3 in a row that we've won up in Lambeau.
Yeah, and that's 3 in a row in Lambeau. So the Lions just looked like the team that belonged in the elements, which that was the big question from all the big media was, can this dome team, because, the Lions have 3 outdoor games. Here's number 1, and what did they do? They looked like they were a team that played in the elements all the time. Yeah. And that should scare a lot of teams now. It's like,
the elements did not bother them at all.
If the Lions don't get that number 1 seed, you guys should still be scared, because this team will play you anywhere and probably look good doing it. Yeah. So I don't know. The flaws to this team are few. And we'll talk about the trade deadline in a little bit. But they're party poopers too. What did they do? They went in on Matt LaFleur's birthday. I didn't even know that till after the fact that it was Matt LaFleur's birthday, and
Jordan Love's birthday.
Well, they both have the same birthday.
Yes,
that's weird.
And they did the same thing on Jerry Jones' birthday in Dallas a few weeks ago. So yes, they are the new party poopers.
I love it.
If you get a birthday, like if one of your players is having a big birthday, forget it.
Yeah.
You better not even bother bringing a cake, because you're not going to be able to blow out the candles.
Detroit party poopers. That should be the name of our defense.
There you go. You've got the purple people eaters, and we're the Honolulu blue party poopers.
There you go. Book it. Give us credit. Put it on a T-shirt. But no. So then also, like, one of my favorite moments was the Lions had that 4th down run in the third quarter to start the third quarter when Jahmyr Gibbs just busted it and scored the touchdown, and they cut to Matt LaFleur, who appeared to be looking at the Lions sideline and said, "Oh, F off." And I was just laughing, because I was just like, dude, like, then stop him. Just stop him then. Dude, you get mad? Like, what are the Lions supposed to do? Not try to score? I don't know.
It could have been a Lions player out there saying something to him.
I don't know. I think
they didn't show that part, so we don't know who he was responding to.
I think he was looking at the sideline, but
whatever.
But whatever. Dan Campbell, man, that guy, what a coach he's been. And then did you want to talk about the celebration that Amon-Ra St. Brown had?
We're going to mention that later.
Oh, you want to do that later?
I've got a story about the kid that started this in college.
But I do want to then mention that getting off the bus, Amon-Ra wearing the Green Bay Sucks shirt.
Oh, yeah.
What a way to set the tone for the day. Like, they knew what they wanted to do when they got there. And Amon-Ra will not mince words. He got into it with that fan last year who flipped him off, and there's a picture of him, like, kissing at him.
Blowing him a kiss,
And then this year it was Montgomery at the end of the game blowing kisses to the fan. So, the Lions are not scared of Green Bay anymore.
Well, from what I've heard in the past, I think it was, who was the one receiver that used to play for Minnesota? He was talking about
Randy Moss?
Yes. He told a story one time where it's a tradition up there in Green Bay that when you are leaving on your bus, a bunch of fans get together and they all moon you as you're leaving, as your bus is pulling out.
Wow.
So it's a thing that they do. They moon you in the cold, in the snow, whatever. And so, I guess that's I hadn't heard that before.
I don't know, but I'm liking the tradition of Amon-Ra doing the Lambeau leap after the game and hanging out with all the Lions fans that stick around, or the Lions fans that in the fourth quarter are louder than the Packers fans chanting Jared Goff.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yep.
Absolutely love it. I love this Lions team. I absolutely, this is crazy.
Yep. The last year was the start of it, and this year they're continuing, and they're getting stronger and better. It's so much fun to be a Lions fan.
I know
right
we
now.
need to move on, but I do want to ask you, just because it's not like we sit here and talk about this all the time. So, in my 35 years of existence, this is probably one of the best Lions teams I've ever seen.
Yeah.
In your 60 whatever years of being a fan?
This is the 50th season that I have been watching Lions football. I went to my first game in 1975 when I was 16 years old. So this is season number 50 that I've been following this team. And yeah, these last 2 seasons have been really something. We had the one good season back in '91, when they made the playoffs and beat Dallas in that playoff game.
We had a couple good Stafford teams. The team that lost in Dallas on that crappy playoff game, that was a great team that just they should have gone a lot farther than they ended up doing.
Yep. But last year and this year, even 2 years ago when they went 9-8, and missed the playoffs, but
they started off 1-7 and then they turned it around.
Yep, but they still beat the Packers with Aaron Rodgers and ruined their chance of getting in the playoffs.
Right.
We knew going into that game we weren't going to be in the playoffs, but we could spoil theirs, and that's what they did. And so it's been just a real bully fest. The team has really become bullies, and I like it. 50 years of being
the punchline,
the punchline of every getting no media love from the major networks or any of the analysts. And now everybody's saying we're the best team, and I don't know how to react to that sometimes. It is weird.
I still would say the Chiefs. I mean, until the 2-time defending Super Bowl champions, lose or don't win the Super Bowl, I'm going to give it to them. Look, they're the best, but I will they're 1A. The Lions are 1B right now. They're playing great. I mean, yes, we're only halfway through the year, and so much can change.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, we started off 1-7 that one year, and we went 9-8. We start off 7-1. Who knows what could happen? I don't think this team is built like that they're just going to crumble.
Right.
God, I hope not. God, if you're out there listening, you're not going to do that to me, are you? Jeez. But
this is all about you, huh? Okay.
Hey, shut up. But no, this is in my lifetime. I was alive, but I didn't get to cerebrally experience the 91 team. I was 2 years old, 3 years old.
Right.
So I didn't get to experience that run to the NFC Championship game. Since then, it was a lot of barely miss the playoffs or they get blown out in the wild card round. That was all I ever experienced till earlier this year when I got to sit there at Ford Field and one of the greatest gaming experiences I've ever had. It was the most expensive ticket I ever paid for, too, but it was worth it.
Yeah.
And, and it was against our former quarterback that we loved so much.
Yes.
It's been crazy. This last couple of years as a Lions fan has just been absolutely nuts. And if you've we've done this show for how many years now? You had to
7.
You had to listen to 5 years of us being like, well, we'll see what we do.
Yeah.
Oh, Lions lost again on a heartbreaker, but this time it's been nice being on the other foot.
Yes.
Just hey, we did what we had to do. We handled our business.
I've been saying this for a while. What Dan Campbell is doing in Detroit is building a team the right way. And you're going to see
Holmes. Don't forget Brad Holmes.
And especially Brad Holmes, yes. The two of them are putting together this team the right way, and you are going to see everybody copying what Detroit is doing in the years to come.
I'm sure.
Because they're going to see the success, how we turn this franchise around, and they're going to want to do that too. So, people are going to start drafting linemen before they get their big quarterback and all this other stuff. But we're doing it the right way. We're building it from the ground up, starting with the offensive defensive line, and then going from there. And not every pick that we've had, but almost every pick has been a person that maybe got passed over, like an Amon-Ra St. Brown, but they come here and they produce because we know what we see in these guys.
Yeah, they find diamonds in the rough. Dan Campbell, I think, has been an underrated motivator. I mean, everybody sees the rah-rah stuff and thinks,
sure.
haha, it's funny, but there's something to it because look at what happened with Jared Goff. And like I said, we probably should move on from this. This could be a whole show in and of itself. We'll move on.
We're
already
2 hours into the show and we haven't even got through the scores yet.
But no, with Dan Campbell, I mean, what he's done with Goff, I don't know what he did with Goff's psyche because, leaving Los Angeles like that would mess a person, your confidence up. And when Goff started in Detroit, even we said for a year or so, bridge quarterback, we'll see how long he lasts. But then once it finally started clicking and we're like, oh, so this is what we could look like with a Jared Goff that's fearless and a Jared Goff that finally is comfortable with his team. And now we don't want Jared Goff to go anywhere.
Yeah.
He
and
crazy.
Stafford were both number 1 draft picks in their respective drafts.
Yeah,
so
and it's just been crazy. You would have asked me 3 years ago, 4 years ago, if I would have wanted Jared Goff as my quarterback, I probably would have told you, hell no.
No.
And now I'd be like, you know what? I don't think I'd take anybody over Goff right now, which is crazy to think about. I have a Goff jersey. It's wild. All right. Speaking of the guy that was traded for Goff, Matthew Stafford led the Rams to a incredible overtime victory over the Seattle Seahawks. You left in the middle of this because you came over and watched the game at our house, and you didn't catch overtime. Did you watch any of that? Did you see the highlight?
I saw the highlights, yes.
Stafford threw an absolute dime. Stafford still got it. Like, don't get me wrong. I love Stafford.
But did you see the one Rams fan that had the sign that said, is it too late to get Goff back?
No.
Yes.
I didn't see that at all.
They were playing pretty bad, I guess, early on in the game, and he had
they were down like 13-3 at one point. And they
there was
back.
a guy in the stands, and I've seen a video of him. I think he had like several different signs. I guess that's his thing. He comes with all these signs, but one of them was, "Is it too late to get Goff back?"
Wolf, I haven't seen that. I need to find.
I gotta find a still of that.
Yeah, I gotta find that too. But the Rams in Seattle getting that win is huge. The Rams could be a scary team. Puka Nacua got ejected in the second quarter.
Did he?
He like punched another. I guess he retaliated, punched the other player in the face.
I heard about it, but I didn't see it.
So I mean, for retaliating, you probably shouldn't retaliate, but man, you hate to see that. So he was down his best receiver, and Stafford still threw a hell of a pass in that overtime period. Like first Seattle had the option, like it was like 4th and 1, like they could have kicked the field goal to go up 3, which the Rams still would have gotten the ball back. But instead, they go for it on 4th down. The Rams stop them. So now all the Rams need is a field goal to win it. So it's just like, would you have kicked the field goal there, or do you think you would have done what the Seahawks did and go for it? Because I get going for it, but you got to make it. And then you got to stop the Rams, and they couldn't stop the Rams. And I think that momentum gave Stafford like, all right, let's do this. And I think it was 3 plays, and then Stafford found the end zone right there. It was incredible.
Wow,
a heck of a finish. All right, Sunday Night Football saw the Vikings defeat the Colts 21-13. I started at the beginning of this game. Colts were up 7-0 at halftime. I kind of
that's when I went to bed too.
Sam Darnold threw 3 interceptions, I think.
Another game I woke up disappointed. Went to bed happy, thinking, Vikings going to lose. We're in good shape.
Maybe he didn't throw 3 interceptions, but there was both quarterbacks, Flacco and Sam Darnold, threw quite a few interceptions in this game. But Vikings end up winning that one again, 21-13. And then last night, Monday Night Football, what a game they had there. Went to overtime. The Chiefs held on to beat the Buccaneers 30-24. The big question from this one was the Buccaneers came and tied it up at the end of regulation. Should they have gone for 2 just to take the win and get out of Arrowhead? I mean, do you want to risk giving Patrick Mahomes the ball back in overtime? Because as soon as that coin flip happened and Baker Mayfield saw that they lost the toss, you could tell on his face, he's like, well, that's it.
Yep, his expression said, well, we've lost this game.
Which sucks, which is the terrible thing about the overtime period. Right. And I do think it needs to be, I'm telling you, it just has to be another 15-minute quarter. It just needs a full 15-minute quarter where, even though you scored, guess what? You still have to finish the 15 minutes. I know that sucks for the players, and that's a lot of extra time, but I think that's the only way to make it fair.
I don't think it has to be a whole quarter, but I think both teams do need to touch the ball on offense. Even if you score a touchdown, great. Now, if the other team can go down and score a touchdown themselves, fine.
So you're saying the overtime playoff rule should be the regular season one, because that's where both teams get the ball no matter what, and then the third possession is sudden death.
Yes.
So okay, I mean I wouldn't hate that either. But as long as both teams get the ball, regardless of what score they do, I would be okay with that in the regular season. So that is your Week 9 scores. The Steelers and 49ers on a bye. And all right, so while we're still in the NFL section, we got some trades to talk about. There were quite a few trades today. And, oh boy, I lost my thing I saved. Darn it all. Nope, there it is. Okay, so here's some of the notable trades. Obviously, the Lions got ZA'DARIUS Smith from the Cleveland Browns today. Right. The move we love. The Lions traded a 7th round, or they sent Cleveland a 5th round pick for 2025 and a 6th round pick for 2026. In return, the Lions received ZA'DARIUS Smith and a 7th round pick in 2026. Right. What do you think of the move? You haven't talked to me about this yet.
I think it's exactly what I thought was going to happen. They got a guy who's obviously going to be a good player, otherwise they wouldn't have traded for him. And they gave up a couple of low round picks in the couple of years to come. That's exactly what they needed to do. No, 2 first round picks to get this guy, or a first and then a 2nd round or whatever.
Right.
This is exactly what I figured our GM would do.
Yep.
And he did it.
And he's a guy who's still got a year left on his contract after this year. So he'll be a Detroit Lion next year, depending on what Brad Holmes wants to do in the offseason. And he's not really a replacement for Hutchinson. I think a lot of people kept using that word, like he's a replacement. It's like nobody's going to replace the production that Hutchinson had. Hutchinson had 7.5 sacks. ZA'DARIUS Smith had 5. while that's good, I don't know, he'll just be a nice complement to what we already have.
Does he mainly go from the right
He's
side?
He's an edge, so he'll probably play wherever.
Okay, because I want to see both of them on the field next year.
I mean, next year, yeah, you could swim. I mean, Hutchinson already moves around left, right.
Right.
Sometimes he's in the middle. So they'll probably use ZA'DARIUS Smith the same.
Okay.
Probably move him around a little bit. I mean, and you have both those guys out there. That'd be a scary tandem right there. So I'm excited about that.
Somebody on each edge. Oh my God, one of them is going to get to the quarterback.
And with Aleem McNeil plugging up the middle there, I think that's right there 3 great studs on your defensive line. So heck of a move by Brad Holmes. It was the move we've been hearing about and hope they'd get done. And I'm just glad it was for a 5th and a 6th round pick.
Right.
So you're not giving a lot of terrible draft capital. That's stuff where like the Lions can either make up those picks doing other stuff or
use them in trades for other players.
Yeah. So, all right. The Bears traded away their backup running back Khalil Herbert to the Bengals, who needed a running back after their starter got hurt. And Khalil Herbert hasn't really seen a whole lot of touches this year with DeAndre Swift going in there and taking carries there in Chicago. So that's a move that I think kind of makes sense for the Bears. Like, hey, you ship him out. You already got Swift, who's playing pretty okay. Mm-hmm. The Panthers trade. This was a shock to me. The Panthers trading wide receiver Jonathan Mingo, who I think is only a second-year receiver. They traded him to the Dallas Cowboys. So the Cowboys being buyers at the deadline for a receiver, I just thought was a weird move.
Everything Dallas does is weird, and I just smile when I say, "What are you thinking?"
Right.
All right, keep doing it because I like it. But what are you thinking?
And here's a move that I raised an eyebrow at, and I was like, "Oh, okay, somebody's trying to compete right now." And that's the Commanders, as they traded for Saints cornerback Lattimore, who Marshawn Lattimore, great corner, and I mean the story has kind of been that the Commanders need some corner help, and they address that there. So the Commanders are in it to win it this year. I mean, yeah, they got a young team. We'll see how far they actually go, but I mean that's the kind of moves you want to see your team make. That it's a team that's taking this run seriously because you don't know in the NFL how long your window's gonna last. You got the rookie quarterback who's playing hot. I mean,
strike when the iron's hot.
Strike when it's hot. The Jets sent Mike Williams to the Pittsburgh Steelers, wide receiver there. He's the one that Aaron Rodgers threw under the bus a few weeks back. So good for you, Mike Williams, getting out of that dumpster fire and going over to a Steelers team that I think will benefit from having him a receiver there.
I heard one guy on Sports Talk today saying that now Aaron Rodgers has one less guy to blame after the next loss.
Hey.
Not one less receiver to throw to, but one less guy to blame when things go wrong.
I agree with that. And a surprise move, the Packers sending Preston Smith to the Steelers as well. So the Steelers getting a couple pickups. He's a defensive lineman. I don't think we heard his name a whole lot during that Lions game, but I mean, he's not a terrible player. So going to the Steelers there to shore up that defense, that's usually pretty good. And then the Rams sent Tre'Davious White to the Ravens. So the Ravens also adding some more talent to that roster. So a lot of moves today. I mean, very uncharacteristic of the NFL trade. A
lot of times this trade deadline comes and goes, and you might get one or two. The
last couple of years, it's starting to pick up. It's starting to feel more like the NBA or baseball trade deadline when there's so much that happens. And I think in the NFL, they finally realize that these teams, you wait till the last minute, you see where your team's at. Oh, we're 2-7. We're not going anywhere. Yep, let's ship a couple guys out, get some draft capital, and we're building for next year. Or you're a team that, like the Lions, hey, we had a banged-up guy. We don't know when we're going to get him back, but we would love some insurance, to kind of keep that production going. So let's trade for a guy. We have some late-round picks we can give up, or we can give up a couple higher picks if we need to for a guy. So I feel like the NFL trending in this direction, it makes it a little more exciting. It's just one more thing the NFL has just gotten right is, now the trade deadline is such a big deal. So, I just smacked my microphone. Let's see. Any other stories before we're done with the NFL? Because, man, I feel like we've covered it.
Yeah, no.
We're almost 40 minutes in. And
oh, my gosh. We're still in NFL talk?
We're still in NFL talk. All right. Why don't you transition into what the next topic is?
All right. Now we are going to head north of the border and games played in the Canadian Football League, where the Rouges run free and the poutine is everywhere. Not all of it's good poutine, but I do like poutine.
Yeah, you just don't like the spicy stuff. All right. The CFL divisional semifinals happened this past weekend, and boy, oh boy, did we have a couple of games.
Yeah.
Saturday doubleheader. So that first game, the Toronto Argonauts hosted the Ottawa Red Blacks and got the victory 58-38. What a score. It was back and forth in that first half.
It was.
The Red Blacks, I thought, I was getting nervous because I was like, oh man, the Red Blacks look like they're going to handle handled Toronto a little bit, but then Toronto was able to pull away.
Yeah, it all came down. It all came down to a couple of interceptions, 2 interceptions in the fourth quarter that were both returned for touchdowns. One was 71-yard interception return, and the other one, I don't remember exactly how far it was, but it wasn't that long. But the guy was running with it, and he kind of was getting tackled, and he lateraled it to another guy who went the rest of the way and scored. So 2 pick sixes in the fourth quarter that really busted this thing wide open and left Ottawa with no time to do anything.
So I mean, we obviously we love the Argonauts.
Yep.
They're kind of our de facto
Yep.
CFL team, even though we like all the CFL teams.
Yep.
Let's now
Yep.
not lie about that. But I mean, if we had to have one, it's Toronto.
Yep.
So cool seeing them get the win. And Ottawa, I mean, what a good season. I mean, they had a great season to start. The 5-game losing streak didn't help.
Yeah.
For like I said, for most of the year, I thought this was the second best team.
Really? Yeah.
So for Toronto to kind of figure their stuff out here towards the end of the year, I think talks about how tough that team is, because that team was up and down all year too. So they have a big test coming up next week, and we'll talk about that in a second. But that second game, the Saskatchewan Roughriders took on the BC Lions. They got the 28-19 win. This one never felt like the BC Lions were really in it, in my opinion.
Yeah, they started Vernon Adams as opposed to Nathan Rourke.
Which, I mean, Vernon Adams seemed like he was the hot hand.
Right.
But, I mean, he might have played his last game as a BC Lion anyway. Hard to say. We'll see what happens. But, I mean, Saskatchewan, though, they've always kind of been not my second favorite team. But I've always liked the Rough Riders, and they look like they got a decent team that I would believe could go in and make some noise here next week. We'll have to see what happens. But, I don't know. I like the uniforms they were wearing.
Yeah, that's 2 weeks in a row they wore those real dark
those
green.
Obsidian,
dark green uniforms. And, that was a good look.
I like that look a lot, yeah. But, so that leaves us for next Saturday. You're going to have the divisional finals. That's right. So your Western Division matchup will be the Saskatchewan Roughriders at Winnipeg to take on the Blue Bombers. And they sold that game out.
Yeah.
Good for them. The Blue Bombers fans are awesome, and I love it when seeing them pack out that stadium.
Yep.
And that should be a heck of a game. And then in the East, you have the Toronto Argonauts traveling to Montreal to play the Alouettes.
And this is a rematch of last year's East Finals that was won by Montreal, and everybody thought that Toronto was going to go in there and win this game. So Toronto is looking for some revenge up in Montreal.
I mean, Toronto, I think, already won up in Montreal this year, so this will be interesting. All these games, I could see the games going either way, which is good for us fans.
Right.
Keep us on our toes, because, I mean, to be honest with you, I would love to see an Argonauts Rough Riders final. Nothing against the Alouettes or Blue Bombers, but I mean the Blue Bombers obviously have been in the finals for years.
Yep.
The Alouettes just won it. I mean the Argos won it 2 years ago, so I don't know. We'll see. I just feel like since we're going to be at the Grey Cup, I would like to see the Argos and Rough Riders. That's kind of my pick for the Grey Cup.
I don't care who Toronto plays as long as they're in it. That would be my dream.
I mean, I would love to. Even if it was the Blue Bombers, it'd be great to be around a bunch of Blue Bombers fans. I think that'd just be really cool. So. Or if Montreal goes, I mean, obviously our friend Tim Capper's a Alouettes season ticket holder, and we'll see him at the game. So it'd be cool if it was his team playing too. So
we also know a guy in the PFRA that's from Canada, and he's
a Blue Bombers fan.
Winnipeg fan. Yep. So I don't know if he'll be at the game or not.
I don't know either. You have to hit him up.
Hard to say. I haven't heard him say anything about going there for the game, but we'll see.
Yep. So the winners of those two games will advance to the 111th Grey Cup game in Vancouver, British Columbia, which we will be in attendance for. Very excited about that. Check out our show, Canadian Football League Weekly, not Wheatley, for details and highlights about these games, and we'll probably preview the games a little bit more. Probably talk about how they did against each other during the regular season. I can put that together. So, so go check that out, please. All right, guys. But we are going to stay up in Canada, and Randy's going to talk to us about Canadian college football scores up there. Take it away.
Yes, they're in their playoffs there in USPORTS, which is their version of the NCAA. This was round one. I don't have all the scores from round one, but I've got a sampling of the scores. We'll have more next week. But the Bishop's Gators shut out the Acadia Axemen 59-0. The Laval Red and Gold defeated the Concordia Stingers 41-18, and the Western Ontario Mustangs defeated the Guelph Griffins 30-19. And this is all leading up to the Vanier Cup, which is their national championship game, which is going to be played on Saturday, November 13th. So we're right into the midst of the playoffs, just starting this week, but a couple more weeks of playoffs, and then the great Vanier Cup game. And here's a story that I just saw today about a girl up there that's been playing college football for Manitoba. University of Manitoba kicker Maya Turner is the first woman to be named a Canada West Conference Football All-Star. She made 14 of 18 field goals this season for the Bisons, the Manitoba Bisons, and that was the best record in the entire Canada West Conference.
Wow.
So, yep, I posted a thing on our social media, some nice pictures of her on the field. I think they had an awards thing, and she was there getting her award also for that. So, congratulations to her. I think that's awesome. You see a lot of women kickers getting their shot at a lot of games, college level, whatever. And I think it's great. And to finally have somebody be named as an all-star for having one of the best performances in her conference, I think that's just awesome. I can't be happier for her.
See, I love it when you dig up stories like this. I don't think a lot of people would even, especially down here in the States, would know about.
Well, this was actually on the CFL's Twitter feed.
Okay.
So the CFL sent it out, and of course I followed the CFL, and I saw that, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's pretty cool. So yeah, go to our social media, Facebook and Twitter, and check that out and see these pictures. So yeah.
It got dark outside really quick, by the way. Just
this daylight savings time
daylight
is
savings
kicking my butt.
I hate daylight savings time.
Yeah, I mean,
what are we saving?
Normally, it's not even 6 o'clock in the evening while we're recording this. And it's pitch black outside.
I know.
Oh,
this is weird. Like, usually when I leave here, it's nice and sunny out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're recording a little long, but it's like it's only 5:46, and it's already looks like it's 8 o'clock outside. Good Lord.
My gosh.
All right.
Let's see. And then Canadian Junior Football League action. There was no action this week, but next Saturday, November 9th, is the championship game for the CJFL, and it's going to be the Okanagan Sun at the St. Clair Saints in Windsor, Ontario. So championship game next Saturday, this coming Saturday. And now we're going to go back to the United States for some more college football scores. And let's see, we're going to start with the top 10 teams.
According to the AP poll.
According to the AP poll, yep. Number 1, Oregon over Michigan, 38-17. Yeah, that was a real beatdown.
Started off okay because I thought Michigan recovered that punt.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, maybe Michigan can make it a game. Nope. Nope.
Let's see. It was number 2, Georgia over Florida, 34-20. Number 4, Ohio State upset number 3, Penn State, 20-13. I think you were watching this game.
I watched this whole game. Ohio State is a team not to be trifled with. They've had some offensive line issues, and in that game, it looked like that offensive line was one of the best offensive lines in college. Penn State or Ohio State should probably be number 1. I know they lost to Oregon, but I mean, they were right in that game. So I think when you see these rankings come out, because the official national championship playoff rankings come out tonight, the first one of many.
Yeah.
So take stock in it if you want, but I don't know. I think Ohio State, if they keep going on this trajectory, Ohio State's probably going to be one of the top 2 teams. Maybe even number 1, depending on what happens with Oregon. And we'll probably see them in Oregon play again in that Big Ten championship game, unless our friends down in Indiana have something to say about it, which I'm pulling for. But what a game. I mean, Penn State, I was really pulling for Penn State, though. They just couldn't get anything going after. They went up 10-0, and they lost 20-13. So 20 unanswered points, I think, is what happened. And in Penn State, where they had the whiteout, but then they had one section of students on both sides, or one section where it was all blue shirts, so it looked like the helmet. So you'd look at an overhead view. So the one stripe goes across everything. And it's like the middle stripe on the helmet. I thought that was pretty cool. But it doesn't help you win the game.
Yeah.
So,
okay, it was number 5, Miami of Florida over Duke, 53-31. Number 6, Texas was on a bye. Number 7, Tennessee over Kentucky, 28-18. Number 8, Notre Dame was on a bye. Number 19, BYU was on a BYU.
They were only number 9.
I'm sorry, number 9, I was trying to get this joke in. Number 9, BYU was on a BYE also.
Oh, wow.
It worked so
You gotta
well in my
work on
mind.
your
When I
delivery.
wrote this up the other day, it was awesome.
So wait, so you sat there, you wrote that down, and you just chuckled to yourself that you were going to make that joke?
Yep, and I screwed it up.
Yeah, you did. Good
And
Lord.
then South Carolina upset number 10, Texas A&M, 44-20. That's the most buys I've seen in the top 10. Three teams in the top 10 were on buys
Yeah, their
this week.
schedules are weird now. There's a lot of buys kind of
Yeah.
scattered out everywhere. So
All right, continuing on with some scores from the FBS level. Upsets, shutouts, blowouts, and others. Texas Tech upset number 11 Iowa State 23-22. Louisville upset number 12 Clemson 33-21. Number 13 Indiana, our new favorite team in the Big Ten, over Michigan State 47-10.
and they were down 10-0, and I was like, what is happening to Indiana?
I couldn't find this game anywhere on TV.
I think it was on Peacock. It was like streaming.
Yeah, because I looked all over my satellite
Yeah,
dish.
it was-
Even on Big Ten Network, it wasn't there.
It was Peacock then. I think was where it was. But yeah, then to rattle off 47 points.
Yeah.
Good Lord, Indiana. I really hope. And again, another team they beat by double digits.
Yep.
So I'm really hoping Indiana, make some noise here at the end of the season.
It was number 15 Boise State over San Diego State 56-24. Houston upset number 17 Kansas State 24-19. Number 19 Ole Miss over Arkansas 63-31. Number 20 SMU upset number 18 Pittsburgh 28-25.
Previously undefeated Pittsburgh.
Yes. Minnesota upset number 24 Illinois 25-17.
Row that boat.
And that's right. I forgot about that. NC State over Stanford 59-28. UAB over Tulsa 59-21. Oklahoma over Maine 59-14. Three teams scoring 59 points there. And then UCF over Arizona 56-12. It was Northwestern over Purdue 26-20 in overtime. And it was Syracuse over Virginia Tech 38-31 in overtime. Moving on to the military academies, it was Rice over Navy 24-10. And it was number 21 Army improving to 8-0 over Air Force 20-3. So that leaves us with 5 undefeated teams at the FBS level.
Man, so a lot of undefeated teams lost this. But we were
Yeah,
at
a couple
8
of
last
them.
week.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
three of them lost.
Yep. So you've got Miami, Indiana, and Oregon at 9-0, and you've got Army and BYU at 8-0. The only perfect teams left.
All right.
And like you said before, tonight is the first college football playoff rankings. I'm not going to put too much stock in it because,
It doesn't matter till the end.
yeah, yep. But it'll be interesting to see how they compare with the AP, ranking and whatever.
For sure.
I'm not putting a lot into it. And something we forgot to mention last week, you had me write this down because it wasn't on the script. Michigan quarterback Jack Tuttle last week announced his retirement from football after suffering his 5th concussion.
Yeah.
Pretty sad story to think about, but he knows 5 concussions. Yeah, you're doing the right thing, kid. Your health is more important than playing football,
Yeah.
even if it is for Michigan. Best of luck. Have a successful life, but being a quarterback at Michigan is not worth your life. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, and now we're going to move to the Division III level. I'm sorry, FCS, not Division III. Howard shut out Delaware State 38-0. It was Stony Brook over Bryant 31-30 in overtime. And in the Ivy League, it was Cornell over Princeton 49-35. And this is, you want to talk about the headstand that Amon-Ra did. Well, this all started because an FCS wide receiver by the name of Jalen Walthall, Walthall, who plays for the Incarnate Word Cardinals in San Antonio. He got penalized for doing this headstand celebration after scoring a 57-yard touchdown against the Houston Christian Huskies. Everybody's seen that play, but nobody gave his name. You didn't know where he's from. I looked all this up, and I found the highlights and saw the game and all that. So he did that, and you could see immediately after he did it, the referee throws a celebration penalty. So you're not going to see this all over college football now because it's going to be a penalty.
Right.
But you can do it in the NFL. By the way, UIW won that game 45-20. And, of course, it was copied by Amon-Ra St. Brown of the Lions and Drake London of the Falcons.
Yeah.
Drake London did it first. Not impressed with his. Amon-Ra did it perfectly.
See,
He was magnificent.
I hadn't seen Drake London's until after Amon-Ra did it, because what was that? Like, this is new to me. Like, what was that?
Yeah, I had no idea
Amon-Ra?
when Amon-Ra did that. I had no idea what was going on, that this college kid did it.
But I guess he didn't know that Drake London did it either. He already, when he heard about it, he's already had it in his mind that he was gonna do that celebration. He's like, well, if I score, I'm still doing it. So
yeah.
That's awesome. Love that.
But yeah, I love that backstory. And this kid, I don't know if he'll become semi-famous for that. If that's going to be his one, 15 minutes of fame ever.
Hard to say.
But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. All right, moving on to Division II. It was Bloomsburg over Shepherd, 27-21 in double overtime. It was UNC Pembroke over West Virginia Wesleyan, 79-20, and it was Virginia Union shutting out Bluefield State, get this, 91-0.
Woof.
All right, now we're going to get to Division III. It was Adrian over our hometown Kalamazoo College, 35-21. And it was the, all it said was WPI over the Coast Guard Academy, and I had to look it up. It's the Worcester Polytechnic Institute, WPI, over the Coast Guard Academy, 38-14. And in the last game here, it was Wittenberg shutting out Oberlin 77-0. A lot of really big shutouts and blowouts this week. At the NIA level, it was St. Francis over St. Francis. That was St. Francis of Indiana in Fort Wayne over St. Francis of Illinois, 28-20.
Jeez.
I thought that was just that they were playing each other. And St. Francis scores, but St. Francis loses. And then it was Kentucky Christian over St. Andrews of North Carolina, 85-26.
That St. Francis offense can't stop that St. Francis defense.
And it was Texas Wesleyan over Texas College, 70-7.
Oh, that St. Francis head coach does not like the call on the field, so the other St. Francis head coach is...
the St. Francis coach is yelling at the St. Francis coach. I can't understand what they're saying.
The St. Francis coaches are exchanging words.
Uh-huh. All right, and finally, in college football, at the National Junior College level, Snow College over the New Mexico Military Academy, who actually play in Roswell, New Mexico, by the way, 35-18. It was Coffeyville over Dodge City, 13-12, and Kilgore over Blinn, 22-14. Our former quarterback with the Rampage,
Clint Dozell?
No. The other guy. The guy that also played
Bishop?
for the Michael Bishop, yes. He went to Blinn College, community college, before he went to Kansas State. And I think he was second in the Heisman Trophy winning.
And a fun fact, that the New Mexico Military Academy's mascot is called the Prober. So I think that's very interesting.
What?
I know, I'm just...
Get out of here. All right.
Well, you said Roswell. I mean, aliens probing.
Yes. Yeah,
Come
they
on.
play in Roswell, New Mexico. That's where their stadium is. So I'm not sure how far their stadium is from
You just
the
want to go to spot a
UFO
UFO.
museum. I got to do both. I got to see the a game at the Military Academy and go to the Roswell Museum.
I'm here to see UFOs and watch touchdowns.
That's right. All right, so now...
Oh, a UFO touchdown. It was right there. That joke was right there.
And now it's time to check in with our man in Japan.
And now we're off across the Pacific, where our man in Japan, Greg St. James, has all the news from the land of the rising sun.
This is Greg St. James with your Gridiron Japan Minute. This week in X1 League area play, we had the Nagoya Cyclones 16-10 over the J Stars. The Tokyo Metropolitan Police 19-7 winners over the Blue Thunders. The Tenaideers were 20-3 winners over Club Triax. The Dentsu Caterpillars 24-21 over Bullseyes. Over Bullseyes. My apologies. And then lastly, we had the Penta Ocean Pirates were 28-14 winners over Bulls FC. For those who want to get to know more about the Gridiron game in Japan, please feel free to visit gridironjapan.jp. And Randy and Adam, we will talk to you next week.
Thanks for that, Greg. Just so you know, it's not a race. You don't have to... That was a really quick one.
It was very fast. I didn't have to hardly do any editing at all. when he said the Gridiron Minute, he wasn't kidding this time.
Hey,
But we appreciate you, Greg.
That's more accurate than when you would say you want to do a 2-minute history lesson and it'd be like 8 minutes long.
It wasn't that bad.
It was that bad. Every week I'd have to fight with you on that. Remember when we used to fight about that? God, how far we've come. Now our Lions are
Now
good.
we fight about everything else. All right. Now we're going to head back to the United States, and we're going to have more happenings in the world of football. And some news out of the Indoor Football League this week. The 2025 IFL schedule was released on October 31st. The league will have 14 teams this year. Each team is going to play a 16-game schedule over 19 weeks. The regular season will begin on Friday, March 21st, and end on July 27th, which is a Sunday. The playoff and championship game information will be announced at a later date. Now, the day before the schedule was announced, the IFL issued a press release saying that the Sioux Falls Storm would be dormant and not compete in 2025. Now, previously, they had announced that the Duke City Gladiators and the Frisco Fighters were also going dormant for 2025. The Storm have been around for 24 years. I mean, we've heard about the Storm for forever.
They are the stuff of indoor football legend.
Yeah, since 2000 was when they were first formed, and they've won 11 championships over the years. Their last one was in 2019, but this is a complicated story, and you can read all about it on our Twitter feed. According to the story that I read, it was posted by Trey from Off the Wall.
Off the Wall.
Yep. This comes from a newspaper in Sioux Falls. I'm sorry. The 12,000-seat arena that they've been playing in since 2015 did not want them playing there anymore and did not offer them a new lease. I think they figured that they could make more money if they could free up those dates with other stuff. There's a hockey team that also plays there. I think they gave them a new lease, but not the IFL team.
So what? They go 13 and 3 and 13 last year.
Yeah, they had a very bad.
A very uncharacteristic, because we
Sure.
were all season. We even asked Trey, I think, when we talked to him, like, what happened to Sioux Falls?
Yeah.
They were always such a up there team, and then all of a sudden they just kind of fell off the face of the earth.
And because of a bad record, the attendance was really bad last year, so they probably didn't make as much money. So the board that runs the publicly owned arena decided we're going to free up those dates for other things, concerts and monster truck shows and whatever.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, and I guess the team tried to get a lease with another arena in the area for this season, but they couldn't make it happen in time. And so hopefully they will be back in 2026.
See,
but that stinks.
That's the scary thing, because every time we hear about a team like, oh, we'll come back next year,
Yeah,
hardly
a lot of times
ever
that
works out.
That doesn't always happen. And
it stinks. It's the unfortunate side effect of these indoor.
You're going to lose all your players and coaches, and you have to start from scratch again. Oh boy!
And then you just go, well, never mind. We're done. That's what sucks about the
but
model that is
they've
football.
bounced around to different leagues, but they've always had a team. The Sioux Falls Storm. That it's just a name that you always hear.
Yeah,
and they've been around a long time. But now that the schedule is out, you and I have looked at it, and you've kind of decided that you want to go see the Fishers Freight game versus the Tulsa Oilers on Friday night, April 4th.
Yep, that's their inaugural home game. I figured what a better time to check out them than their first home game, see what kind of presentation they put together for a brand new indoor football league team. We're going to try to do something special. Trey, if you're out there, that's what we're aiming for. If you can make it, cool. We can try to make that work out.
We may go to more than
probably
one game.
I'd go to more if everything worked out.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you go solo or what. I mean,
sure.
We'll see how my summer opens up. I'm definitely setting this one aside. It's a Friday night. I think it'll be a lot of fun. And we'll see what kind of stuff we can do. I mean, we can collab with Off the Wall. We can, I don't know, we'll probably do our typical travel log type thing and see what other kind of stuff we can. Yeah. And we're trying to actually communicate with the team and see if we can't.
I haven't gotten with them since the schedule's been out, but they said we'd love to have you down for a game. Just let us know when you want to come down after the schedule comes out.
We're trying to put something together. Maybe we can do something extra that we don't even have plans for yet. Like, who knows? We can maybe talk to some coaches, some players.
Right.
Maybe the owner of the team. Like, I would love to learn about the origin of the team name, and then bringing the team, getting the team put together. There's so much that we could do.
Yeah.
I mean, first and foremost, obviously, we want to go there and experience the game.
It's been several years since either one of us have been to an IFL game. They used to have some teams here in Michigan, and so we went to some IFL games there. But it's been, I should have looked this up, exactly how long it's been since I've been to an IFL game. But it's been several years. And but that's what we're thinking right now is we want to see a Fisher's Freight game down in just north of Indianapolis. And the first game that you saw was Tulsa Oilers.
And I mean, the Tulsa Oilers, Trey's been talking up the Tulsa Oilers having one of the better run organizations in the IFL, so I was curious to see them in person.
Okay.
They've been a newer team, and I don't know, that jumped out at me immediately. I was like, that's the game.
Well, they've got several former AFL teams or AF2 teams coming. The Green Bay Blizzard are coming to town. The Iowa Barnstormers are coming to town. So I'm going like, well, I've seen that team before. I've seen that team. Never seen the Tulsa Oilers before because they're fairly new. So yeah, I'm down for going to that game.
There's a couple. There was even the Bay Area Panthers coming to town.
Yes,
I think that
yes,
was
they
one I was
are.
like, that'd be one I'd probably be into.
Yep.
There might have been one other one. I don't know if the Strike Force was coming out. The Jacksonville Sharks were coming up, I think. So.
Yeah, because I've seen the Sharks also.
Yeah, so
in the AFL.
Yeah, so there's a lot. I'm very excited for the Fisher's Freight.
Yep, looking forward to an IFL game. Okay, and finally in the IFL, according to TV station KGUN in Tucson, Arizona,
K-Gun,
which I also posted this video on our timeline, the IFL championship game is moving from Las Vegas to Tucson. They talked about it last week, and I think we might have mentioned it that it might be moving, or at least when I wrote this originally,
yeah,
it
I don't
hadn't
think that
been.
broke till after we recorded. So.
Right. But anyway, it's now official, according to their local TV station. It's a 3-year deal. They beat out Las Vegas and Nashville to host the game. Now, Las Vegas is where it's been held, and I just assumed it was going to stay there for a long time. But and I can't believe that Nashville was in the running for that because they don't have an IFL team in Nashville. So how is that going to work? I mean, they got an AFL team there. They're going to use the same
AF1.
arena.
AF1 team, not AFL. You can't say AFL
I'm
anymore.
sorry, AF1.
I know. I did
Thank
the
you
same
for
thing.
correcting me.
You're welcome.
You love doing that.
Now put a quarter in the AFL jar.
But yeah, those were cities that were also trying to get the IFL championship game. It was a unanimous vote by an organization known as Rio Nuevo, which is a Tucson downtown financial district board. They're going to be paying the IFL $333,000 per year to bring the game to the Tucson arena. The game will be played next year on August 23rd. Kevin Guy, who's the head coach and GM of the Arizona Rattlers, is also an owner of the Tucson Sugar Skulls, along with his wife, Kathy. And he was instrumental in pushing for the game to be played in Tucson. So, yeah, in the video that from the news station that shows him and his wife, they had like 10 people. The whole board was on this Zoom call, and they were in one corner, and all the other people were there. It was unanimous. They all said, "Yep, we'll put the money to bring this game here." And so for the next 3 years, it's going to be in Tucson. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to some birthdays today. For November 5th, Coach Earl Greasy Neal, born on this date in 1891. He passed away in 1973 at the age of 81. In college, he was the head coach at William and Jefferson in 1921 and 1922. He was at Virginia, 1923 to 28. He was at West Virginia from 1931 to 1933. And he was an assistant coach at Yale in 1934 to 1940. Now, in the NFL, he was the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles from 1941 to 1950. He won 2 NFL titles with the Eagles in 48 and 49, and he was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1969. Another birthday today, tight end Kellen Winslow Sr. Turned 67 today. He played his college football at Missouri. He was the 13th overall pick in the 1979 NFL Draft by the San Diego Chargers. He played his entire 9-year NFL career with the Chargers from 1979 to 1987, and he was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1995. And then finally, wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. turns 32 years old today. He played his college football at LSU and was the 12th overall pick in the 2014 NFL Draft by the New York Giants. He played for the Giants from 2014 to 2018. He was with the Cleveland Browns from 2019 to 2021. He was traded to the Rams in 2021 also. He did not play in 2022. He was with the Ravens in 2023, and he's with the Dolphins this season. He won Super Bowl 56 as a member of the Rams for that 1 year that he was there.
pretty decent game, I
He
think.
got hurt in that
And
game.
he got hurt,
Yeah, I remember that now that you mention that. Okay, so that's the birthdays for today, and now we've got a couple of obituaries. This is where we take a moment and honor those who've made the world of football a better place. The first one is William Dub Jones, a halfback and a defensive back in the NFL and the All-America Football Conference for 12 seasons, has passed away at the age of 99. Jones played college football at Tulane and at LSU and was the second overall pick in the 1946 NFL Draft by the Chicago Cardinals. However, he signed with the AAFC's Miami Seahawks in 1946. He was traded to the AAFC's Brooklyn Dodgers during the 1946 season and played for the Dodgers in 1946 and 1947. Then he signed with the Cleveland Browns in 1948, still with the AAFC. He played for the Browns from 1948 to 1955. And what did he do there? Well, he won five titles with the Browns, 2 in the AAFC in 48 and 49, and 3 in the NFL, 1950, 54, and 55. He was also an assistant coach with the Browns from 63 to 68. Jones was inducted into the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame in 1982, the Greater New Orleans Sports Hall of Fame in 1984, and the Browns Legends Program in 2004. He's the father of quarterback Burt Jones, who was quarterback of the Baltimore Colts from 1973 to 1981 and the Los Angeles Rams in 1982. Ironically, Burt Jones was also the second overall pick, but in the 1973 draft by the Colts. Now, I remember Burt Jones. That was when the Colts were still in Baltimore, but he was there for several years, and now, this was his father that passed away at the age of 99.
All right, and our second and final obituary this week is that of Lonnie Warwick, a linebacker in the NFL and the World Football League, has passed away at the age of 82. Warwick played college football at Tennessee and at Tennessee Tech. He signed as a free agent with the Minnesota Vikings in 1965 and played for the team through 1972. He was a member of the famed Purple People Eaters defense and played in Super Bowl IV, losing to Hank Stram and the Kansas City Chiefs. He also played for the Atlanta Falcons in 1973 and 1974 and finished his playing career in the World Football League with the San Antonio Wings in 1975. Warwick was inducted into the Tennessee Tech Sports Hall of Fame in 1978.
All right, finally today, our upcoming events calendar. This Sunday, November 10th, the Giants take on the Panthers in Munich, Germany. That's a 9:30 a.m. game on NFL Network, and it's the last of the overseas games this year.
What a day. I already told my girlfriend, I was like, so I'm going to probably get up, watch that. Lions don't play till 8 o'clock that night. It's going to be a long day of football for me.
Sitting around doing nothing. Forget those chores. I got to watch football.
Yeah,
right?
that's why I got all my leaf raking out today, so I didn't have to worry about it Sunday, but I'm sure I probably won't watch football all day.
Right.
I'm going to try.
Yeah. Let's see. Sunday, November 17th, the 111th Grey Cup Championship game in Vancouver, where we're going to be.
Ooh, so
Saturday,
close.
Yeah. Saturday, November 23rd, the 140th Harvard-Yale game is going to be played at Harvard. Tuesday, December 3rd, Hard Knocks in season with the AFC North is going to be premiering on HBO and Max. Monday, December 9th, the Simpsons Football Fun Day game, the Monday Night Football game featuring the Bengals and the Cowboys, is going to be on Disney+, ESPN+, and NFL+. Saturday, December 14th, the 125th Army-Navy game at Northwest Stadium, home of the NFL's Washington Commanders. I didn't realize it was in Washington this year.
That's right. I forgot that they changed the name because I called it FedEx Field earlier.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's Northwest Stadium now.
Yeah. But normally this game is in Philadelphia, and so it
Right.
just kind of threw me for a loop. But I do remember we did a story where they're going to rotate it around.
Yeah, I was going to say we covered that story. Yeah.
Yep, now that I remember that now. And then finally on our upcoming events calendar, Friday and Saturday, December 20th and 21st, the 12-team college football playoffs begin.
I can't wait. It's going to be incredible. Look, I know you dog the committee because they're just going to vote for whoever they want to be in. But I feel like this playoff is going to be stellar.
We'll
I
see.
cannot wait.
I'm not saying I'm going to hate it, but we'll see. I'm going to keep an open mind.
I am so excited, and I want chaos.
I know you do.
I want some chaos in my college football.
So you're going to be rooting for all the lower seeded teams to beat the
maybe it
higher
just depends
seeded
on the matchups too.
Yeah.
Like I would love to see like if Indiana snuck in, I'd be like, oh Indiana, you go into Clemson
Yep.
and you show Clemson who's or like if trying to think of who else has been like kind of one of those fringe, like Iowa State's kind of been on the fringe. Like if Iowa State snuck in and it's like they're up against like a Notre Dame or somebody's like, oh yeah, I would love to see an Iowa State beat a Notre Dame or a Colorado maybe go into an Alabama or something like that's the kind of stuff I want.
Yeah.
And I would love to see like a dark horse team from like a conference that nobody saw coming, like
Western Michigan, who's perfect in the MAC conference right now.
maybe, or if like Army stays perfect, or Army if they stayed perfect, could they sneak in? Like that would be insane. Like there's a lot. There's a lot that could go down that I am all about.
Yeah. When it was just 4 teams, it was why even bother? Why even bother with the playoff with just 4 teams? You got so many other teams that are eligible for this. Now it's 12 teams. We'll see how this goes.
We'll see how it goes for sure. I can't wait. I think it was a long time coming, and this should be some of the best football, like postseason stuff ever.
Well,
it might be like how like a lot of people would rather watch. I think the NFL playoffs are pretty much the gold standard of how you should do your football playoffs. This college football playoff could be like, oh, that might be better than the NFL playoffs, to be honest with you. We'll see. I don't know.
We'll see.
We'll see. I'm excited, though.
All right, that's it for today's show. Anything pop up on your phone before we
Other than
end
my
this?
girlfriend got some more leaf raking done, and we're looking good.
Oh, I thought maybe she had some more leaf raking for you to do when you got home.
I mean,
in the dark with
in
a
the dark,
flashlight
tonight,
on your
but
head.
I'm sure I'll have some in a week or two.
All right, well, that's all the time for this week. I know it's been a long one. If you learned something during this podcast about the incredible amount of diversity that exists in the world of football, then we have done our job. Visit our website at theworldoffootball.com for news, links, upcoming events, original articles, videos, and more. Our email address is info@theworldoffootball.com.
In an effort to save time, I'm going to do this real short. Facebook, X, Instagram, find it. All of that stuff is in the description below. If you have Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music, you can find us over there. Yep. And then you can find the full audio version of this show clearly on the YouTube page. Enter the World of Football Kalamazoo at the World of Football in that YouTube search bar. Spread the word. Blah, blah, blah. Let us know what you think, and please come be a part of the football conversation.
And remember, folks, some people may love football more than we do.
Speed it up.
But nobody, and I mean nobody, means loves more football than the two of us guys sitting here in Kalamazoo talking about football. Until next time, when we'll try and do a better job. Yeah, right. I'm Randy Snow.
Adam Snow.
See you next week.